Hi, it's day 16 of crocheting a granny square once a day until we have enough to make a granny square cardigan. This is the one I'm following today. It is the Estrella crochet square by Tejidos a Crochet Monicano. It's in Spanish, so I've already translated this to like American abbreviations. I'll put it in my captions so you can follow that if you want to. Let's go. For this one, I'll be using 3.5mm hook as usual, and I'll be using these two. I'll probably be creating two, so I'll use the pink one first and probably do the other one off camera. I'm still on Fireworks of My Heart, Fireworks of the Heart, Fireworks of My Heart, Fireworks of My Heart. I'm on the last 10 episodes of it. Let's go!
Siento del modo paso a paso. Gracias a cada uno de ustedes por seguirnos, por vernos. Gracias por sus comentarios, por sus likes que nos motivan a seguir compartiendo más proyectos. Muchísimas gracias a los nuevos suscriptores. Bienvenidos. También los invito a suscribirse a las amigas y amigos que aún no lo han hecho. Es completamente gratis la suscripción. Bien, vamos a empezar. Vamos a hacer
Start with a slip knot.
Ajustamos y vamos a hacer cadenas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cadenas. Tenemos 7 cadenas. Vamos a unir en la cadena número 1 con un punto deslizado. Unimos y tenemos este.
So start off with chain 7. Oops, was it 7? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cadenas.
Chain 7.
7 cadenas. Vamos a unir en la cadena número 1.
And then we're gonna slip stitch into the first chain, first stitch of your chain.
Unimos y tenemos este arito. Miren, un arito. Vamos a hacer una cadena o un punto bajo y vamos a trabajar alrededor de este arito. Ya tenemos ahí un punto bajo.
So you have a
Y
circle.
vamos a hacer puntos bajos. Ya tenemos 2, 3,
And then you chain 1,
4,
and we're going to make 16 single crochets into the circle.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 puntos bajos. Tenemos 16 puntos bajos.
16. And then once you have 16, we're going to slip stitch into the first single crochet. Should have something like this. Go ahead, chain 4. And then we're going to DC in the next stitch. And chain 1. And then same thing, DC, chain 1 in the next stitch. And we're going to follow this until we reach the end. And then we're going to slip stitch into the third stitch of your first chain 4. 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna slip stitch into the first chain 1 space right beside it. And then chain 3, 2, 3, and then do 2 DCs in that same chain 1 space. Two, And then we're gonna single crochet into the next chain 1 space. Gonna do 3 DC, chain 3 DCs into the same next chain 1 space. So 1, 2, 3, chain 3, and then another 3 DCs in the same space to make your first corner. 1, 2, 3. Single crochet into the next chain 1 space. Oh, that's not a corner, that's just a petal. I'm gonna continue that. So 3 DCs, chain 3, 3 DCs to create the next petal. One, two, three, and then 3 DCs in the same space. 1, 2, 3. Single crochet in the next chain 1 space. So what we're doing is creating these petals. I'm gonna do that till you reach the end. So every petal is 3 DC, chain 3, 3 DC, and then we're gonna close off the petal with a single crochet in the next chain 1 space. so what we have is like this. Have 8 petals, except the first one that we created was a completed petal. So to finish that off, what we need is, after a single crochet on your 7th petal, we're gonna, let me see, we're gonna 3DC in that first chain 1 space. So 1, 2, 3, and then chain 1 and HDC half double crochet into the 3rd stitch of your first chain 3, so basically the top of it. I feel like this would look nicer if I had just started with a magic ring. So I'll try that with a white and see how that goes later. So it's here. We're now on round 5. We're gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and 2DC into that same space, that you created, the HDC. So 1, 2. Chain 3, 2, 3. We're gonna single crochet into the next chain 3 space, the next petal tip, and then chain 3, 2, 3, and in the next tip we're gonna do 3 DCs, chain 2 3 DCs to create our first corner. So 1, 2, 3, chain 2, do another 3 DCs into the same space, I'm gonna chain 3, 2, 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 space, chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, create another corner, so that's 3 DCs, chain 2 3 DCs into the next chain 3 space. 1, 3, chain 2 3 DCs, 1, 2, 3. Gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next space, another 3 chains, and then we're gonna make another corner, so 3 DCs, chain 2 3 DCs. Chain 2, another 3 DC, 1, 2, 3. Gonna chain 3, 1, 2, 3, single crochet into the next chain 3 space, do another chain 3, 1, 2, 3, almost done. What we're gonna do is we're going to do 3 DCs into that first HDC space. So 1, 2, 3, and then chain 1, and then we're gonna half double crochet into the third stitch of the first chain 3, so the top of your first chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, we're gonna HDC into here. So now we have a square. Round 6, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna do 2 double crochets in the same HDC space. So 2 more. 1, 2. We're gonna 3 DC in the next 3 stitches. So we're gonna do a DC in every stitch that we have. And then when you reach a chain 3 space, we're just gonna do 3 DCs into that space. 1, 2, 3. In the last round where we did a single crochet, we're also gonna do 1 DC into that space now. And then another 3 DC into the next chain 3 space. We're going to do a DC in every stitch. Next, so 3 more. 1, 2, 3, which brings us to the corner chain 2 space, where we will do 3 DCs, chain 2, 3 DCs. And then same thing, we're just gonna do a DC in every stitch and every space. then when you reach the corner, remember it's 3DC, chain 2, 3DC. One, chain 2, chain 3, 3DCs. 1, 2, 3. On the next corner, so another 3DC. 1, 2.我也想 3, chain 2, and then another 3DCs. 2, 3. Gonna do 3DCs into that first HDC space. So 1, 2, 3, and then maybe we're gonna chain 1. And then we're going to HDC into the top of your first chain 3. Right now here. We're now on round 7, so we're gonna chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to DC into that same space. We're gonna chain 1. Then what we're going to do is we're gonna skip the next stitch and DC into the next one. So skip a stitch and then DC into the next stitch. Chain 1, skip a stitch, then DC into the next one, and we're just gonna continue that until we get to the corner. Why do I feel like I skipped something? I forgot to count the first stitch. In the corner stitch, we're going to do a DC, a double crochet. I'm gonna chain one, do another double crochet, chain two, a double crochet, chain one, and a double crochet. It looks like this. Chain one, skip the next stitch, and then we're gonna double crochet into the one after that. The next corner is the same thing. We do a double crochet, chain one, double crochet, chain two, double crochet, chain one, double crochet, chain one, skip the next stitch, double crochet into the next one. Another corner, DC, chain one, DC, chain two, DC, chain 1, DC. We're gonna do, we're at the last one, so we're gonna do a DC, chain 1, let me see, and then a DC into the same HDC space, and then we're going to chain 1 and HDC into the third stitch from your first chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and HDC into that. Okay, and then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're gonna DC into that same HDC space, and then we're gonna DC into the next stitch, DC into the chain 1 space, DC into next stitch, DC into chain 1 space. I'm basically just gonna continue that. So what you have is a slightly wavy, like DC, because one of them is slightly lower than the other because you're going into a chain 1 space instead of in the stitch. 10, 11, 12. Gonna DC into the next stitch. And then in that corner space, we're gonna do 2 DCs, chain 2 DCs. One, 2, chain 2, and then another 2 DCs. 1, 2. My fingernails yellow. I'm sorry. I just had ayam masak merah because it's Raya. So my nails are stained. He's so screwed. Burn. Oh, reality check. Ouch. We're gonna end off at the corner, so 2 DCs, chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch 1, 2, 3 into the top, into the third chain of your first chain 3. Gonna slip stitch. Okay. Pull through. Cut it off. And we're done. This is definitely bigger than the other crochet squares that I have, but I have decided that I'm just gonna expand each one of the ones that I have that don't fit to somehow make them fit. So it will work out somehow eventually. This is what we have. It will look a lot nicer once it's blocked. and I'm gonna try one with a magic crochet so we don't have this circle here. I do kind of like it, but maybe it will look nicer because I'm using a thicker thread than the one that she's using if this hole isn't so big, or if there isn't a hole at all. So this is what we have. Showing off the white, this is made with a magic circle in comparison to this one where it's using a chain 7 and then close. Can't decide which looks nicer actually. I think they both have their own merit, although this one looks a lot like a sunflower kind of center, whereas this one looks more like what we're looking for. Oh well.